This is Gabriel Gonzalez for Cage Side Press, and I am here with the PFL featherweight who will be competing for the $1 million grand prize on November 25th. You can't see him right this second because it is nighttime in the UK, but Mr. Brendan Loughnane, there you are. Brendan, first off, how are you feeling? Thank you for the time.
No problem at all. Thanks for having me, brother.
So obviously you guys had the call a couple days ago, and the Twitter sphere kind of ran away with it. Your comments about saying that Bubba probably has some quit in him, and really just the internet has run with it. Do you stand by those comments now after seeing how it kind of all played out, that he maybe has given up a little bit in his fights?
Yeah, I stand by it. I can only say what I see. Like I watched, we did a lot of research the other day. Me and my coaches, we watched all his fights and stuff, and I was like, oh my god, it's a few times I've seen it, and I'm like, this is a 5-round fight. This isn't just a 5-round fight. This is a 5-round war. This is everything on the line, and I know that I will come out on top.
I do want to ask about the wrestling because obviously it was brought up, and specifically, I feel like years ago there was a bit of this, maybe a stereotype that the English fighters struggle with the grappling, with the wrestling in particular, because it's not part of the culture like it is here in the United States.
Yeah.
In recent years, obviously, several English fighters have done completely well with their grappling, getting fights down, keeping it on the feet. And I do want to ask you, is that something you've noticed over the years, whether it just be at the MMA gym specifically, whether it just be in the talent that is developed and maybe come to the UK to work with the fighters, that the level of wrestling in the United Kingdom and really in Europe has just elevated since MMA really took off in the last, let's say, 15 years or so?
Yeah, I mean, you just have to look at Leon Edwards, for example. Like Leon Edwards just beat Kamaru Usman, the pound for pound best. You know, like the difference between a wrestler and a striker is it'll only take us one shot, one kick, one punch. With a wrestler, they've got to try and drag you around the cage for 25 minutes. It's a long time. We have the ultimate equalizer, which is this. So, I mean, yeah, listen, I fought so many wrestlers in my career. This is nothing new to me. Everyone I've ever fought tried to take me down. So bring it on. Let's go.
Um, uh, I want to go back now. Just you go back to that fight with Movlid, does not go your way, and just like many other athletes, not just the PFL but in team sports, you now have that off season, and you have to think about it like, hey, next year is going to be my year. For yourself, just what is some of the work that you felt you had to do, whether it be mental, whether it just be working with the coaches in the gym, that like, hey, honestly, 2022, this is going to be the year that I finish the job and that I get it done?
I mean, I always knew that if I would bump into Movlid, that he would be the toughest matchup. And I got matched with him in the semi-final. Let's look at Chris Wade. Chris Wade fought Movlid in the final last year. So if I would have got past Movlid, I would have fought Wade and I would have beat Wade comfortably. I told everyone I was going to do that to Wade, and I did. Movlid was always going to be stiff competition. And Bubba Jenkins, I just don't see him on Movlid's level. I know he's a great fighter, don't get me wrong, but Movlid had something about him. Yeah, that Dagestani style, which really hard to beat. So I look forward to rematching him next year. But I just think everyone's just overestimating wrestling and underestimating my defense. So that's what I'm looking forward to proving on the night, that's for sure.
On the note of Movlid, you mentioned it, looking for that rematch next year. You were on obviously a great run leading up to that fight. Was there a part of you that was disappointed that he wasn't involved in the 2022 season and you wouldn't get the chance to possibly run into him this year during the tournament?
I mean, this year they had loads of good talent in there. I was looking forward to the matchups. Movlid's getting healthy again. I still speak to him, and he'll be in it next season, so I'm sure we'll run it back at some point.
And then secondly, not to look too far ahead, but with the PFL going more international, obviously they went to the UK and you were a part of their cards. Is that something you're hoping to do more with the promotion, fighting close to home? Or do you like traveling for events and getting a little bit of that experience of coming to the United States when you compete during the year?
I've had 9. This will be my 9th PFL fight now, and 8 of them were in the United States. So I'm used to flying over there and fighting. It's nothing new to me. But I'm not going to lie, I did enjoy sleeping in my own bed and just going to a fight again. I really did.
And then my final question, November 26th, the websites are going to be writing the PFL Finals. What are we going to say about Brendan Loughnane on the morning of the 26th?
World-class performance from the Manchester millionaire, Brendan Loughnane, as he stops Bubba Jenkins and takes his belt.
Well, Brendan, we appreciate the time. Best of luck in the finals. We know it's going to be a good show. Ladies and gentlemen, as we said, November 25th, Brendan Loughnane taking on Bubba Jenkins on the pay-per-view portion of the championship event. You guys are not going to want to miss it.